G'day guys, Das and Jace here. Today we're going to do some body work on Jason's Adductor Magnus, specific to one of the muscles that I treat probably at least a few times a day.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most common areas that I like to go to when anybody's got any dysfunctions in their hip, pain in their lower back, or tracking in their knee. So,
where is it, Das?
Adductor Magnus is the big one. So when we're palpating, sorry Jace to get right up.
That's all right.
But if you're palpating your adductor, you're going to feel like this really fibrotic tendinous tissue. That is your adductor magnus. Feel how bulky, strong that is. Okay, so if we've got some tightness here, think of the joint action where it pulls towards the midline. If we're really tight, you're going to feel your knee and your femur internally rotating and essentially putting more stress on the lateral hip, the lower back, and sometimes stress on the inside of the actual pubic bone, and you end up with things like OP or just pelvic pain or lower abdominal pain. What I like to do, Jace, is come over here and just to do more of a functional test, just show me your squat, like a deep squat, and tell me how that feels in your groins. Yeah. So you probably are a little bit challenged.
A little bit challenged. Yeah, there's a little bit of soreness from my training session last night. When I do a sort of a more of a narrow squat, I struggle with mobility. But once I get a bit wider, I get down to here.
Yeah.
And if I hold this, it's normally that's where I start to feel like my adductors and my groins. I can't really stay in there for too long, which people tend to make a little bit of fun of me about. But it starts to really fatigue quite quickly in those adductors. So they probably are a bit tight when I sort of stay down in that isometric squat hold. Yeah.
And Jace being a footballer, so somebody that's playing once a week, training twice a week, the ability for him to turn laterally, rotate, spin out of tackles is really important. And a lot of that drive is coming from these big adductor muscles, especially this adductor magnus. Another test, Jace, is lying face up on your back, head up this end. So I see lots of footballers, I see lots of sports people. I've got one in next. My next client is a footballer and he's really sore, and I'll probably do this on him. So I come up into a bit of flexion, which this is testing maybe the limitations in his quads, maybe the limitations in his hamstrings and his glute. Bring the foot down, and then I just like to open that up and let that drop. And that's not too bad. If I push the ASIS and the pelvis back this way, it gives me more of a clearer indication as to where that adductor is. Okay, so this one's, we want to get that flatter to the floor, but that's not too bad. Same with the squat. Jason's not too bad. He's not the most functional I've seen, and you can see that this side's a bit better. Yeah, so let's focus on the tighter one. That's what we want to go to first. And we're not comparing Jason's body to somebody else's body. I'm comparing Jason's right hip to Jason's left hip and seeing that there's a little bit more of mobility over this side and limitations on that. So let's side lie and focus on that, Jason. If we can get your shorts off, please, man.
No worries. Which way would you like? This way?
Yeah, so
this leg on the bottom?
Yep, this leg on the bottom. So you've seen me treat, well, you might have seen me treat the adductors where I'm sitting down and pinning my elbow. This way, if you come over here, you can sort of start to see, we have to make sure that we're draping accordingly because we are getting right up in there. We're going to target that muscle with, just let me get some wax. First of all, we'll warm it up with a palm, and I'll show you just some different techniques and strategies, because if you're following at home as somebody that maybe has adductor pain, groin pain, or hip dysfunction, you can see what we do for a real life client as a body worker, or you might be a therapist out there that wants to learn what we're doing, and you might go, oh, that's how I can do this to my partner, or how I can do this to my friends. So left hand right up high, and this is more of a palpate. So I'm taking the slack off the tissue. You can feel that I'm actually getting that femur to rotate. So I'm also thinking of the postures and the positions of the bones and how I can encourage tissues to be more supple and soft and not pulling on those bones and causing torsion and traction and things like that, which might be the reason you get achiness in the knee or achiness in the hip. So just pushing down, what I'm doing is collecting a lot of that fascia and a lot of that muscle belly there. I started up high to connect in with the tendon where the adductors attach onto, especially this adductor magnus, the bulkiest, the strongest, the most performing and powerful of the adductors.
She gets pretty nasty down there.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not having to move fast. I'm just going, pressure is down and a little bit towards the knee. I'm using my palm and my pisiform, so I'm using quite a lot of my hand to collect a lot of that tissue.
That's good.
Good. And what I love about this sideline treatment. So what can happen to our tissues is they become adhesive, meaning they become sticky to one another, the fascia or the muscles that lie next to each other. So our tissues, our muscles and our tissues, they run longitudinally, right? They're pretty simple stuff. Our fascia is all intertwined and crossed over and a little bit more like a mesh or flywire or a spider web, okay? So when we go really slow, we're actually helping to unravel the fascia. What we're also doing is I'm getting my grooves of my hands in between the lines of the muscles. So I can feel that right there, I can work his hamstring that way. Sorry, Jay.
That's good. Keep going.
Or I can just change the weight and work more of his adductor that way. So when muscles become sticky to one another, especially when they have a different joint action, they've got different responsibility. One is meant to flex the knee. One is meant to bring the hip to the midline of the body. When they become sticky to one another, they start to mold into compensating. So they mold together and then they start to compensate, and you start to have a hamstring that's all of a sudden doing less flexing of the knee, or an adductor that's doing less adducting, and you get this jumbled up version of what the hip should be doing, but it doesn't know what to do because the muscles are all become sticky and stuck and gooey. So essentially what this fascial stroke does, and what going really slow with your treatment does, is it helps to separate the muscles that have become crossed over, really sticky to one another. Think of those two fingers, there's a nice gap between there. We want to massage, let's think of those, we want to massage in between that groove and open up a nice little channel so that this guy can move that way and this guy can move that way. You know, there's separate joint action, they've got separate responsibilities in the body. So, use the right hand, just sort of open the cheek up there, Jay. Sorry,
yeah,
that's
all right.
Up there. How'd that feel?
Sometimes if there's pain and dysfunction, you've got to go where the sun don't shine, as Elliot, one of our practitioners, says. He's got a whole YouTube series about where the sun don't shine and where practitioners might not commonly treat. And this is one of those areas that, sometimes you've just got to go. Like, it might feel a bit awkward as a client if you've never had this done before, but it can be the thing that fixes your pain. So, if you haven't had this area sort of treated and explored, and you've had chronic hip or pelvic issues or lower back pain, as Das mentioned, like, this might be what you need. Yeah. So
it might not be. It is. It's what
it's most likely.
Everybody needs Adductor Magnus work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody needs Adductor Magnus work. No matter if you're somebody that's sedentary, sitting at a desk, somebody that's playing sport, tennis players. Think of like tennis players moving lateral, man. Like, you know, or anything like going side to side. You need to get squash, racquetball, tennis, all those like racket sports, baseball, rugby, basketball. You're defending like that, aren't you? So. Yes, that, but also those that are sedentary, sitting down as well. So the muscles are actually becoming dehydrated, and they're losing their ability to get the blood vessels and the blood flow through there because they're stagnant. Right? So we want flow, we want movement, we don't want sedentary. So sometimes it's about getting some hydration in here. And the fascia is the hydration system. It's like irrigation of what you might have out in the farm that's irrigating and watering all the crops. That's essentially what our fascia is responsible for as well. So when it becomes dehydrated from not using it, your tissues feel, I guess, pretty average. Just got a boo-boo. I've just picked a bloody scab on my
We're
back.
The boo-boo doctor's fixed everything.
Doctor, I just had a little bit of a cut on my elbow. I shouldn't have picked a scab. I got scratched on the weekend. Okay, so I'm pinning there. So now I'm really getting good purchase, and I can either like lean back and scoop under that Adductor Magnus, or I can balance and sit on it. So picture a nice, like this muscle is really easy to identify because it is. It's like a tightrope. So the other ones might not have the same pushback. So I can really feel that pushes back on me, and I can just sit on that. And it's quite comfortable for me to do that as well. Lean a little bit over it, and then maybe just create some movement and some separation off that bone. I'm that's sort of cool. Just moving out. And there's a bit of money for Jace there.
Money.
Money.
Show me the money.
No money.
Different video.
We'll leave that one off YouTube. That one's a good one. But if you know what we're talking about, if you've...
I don't know I think that's an Australian thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be.
No money.
If you like our stuff, we actually, you get a little bit more of a personal insight into our lives, our humour, our laughter. We do have a Patreon. So our Patreon's in the link. It's the first link below all of this. So head on over. You can see more exclusive content.
No purple towels?
No towels. But look, it's all educational. It's all a bit of fun. But just a little bit more...
skin?
A little bit more skin, a little bit more of us as well. So... there we go.
Oh, hot.
So while I was speaking to you then, I was just melting into the tissue. Think of it as something that's really hard, solidified, and then I'm making that dissolve, supple and soft. So now I'm going to move...
Oh, yeah, move that. Oh.
Down the leg.
Shit.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it's good.
It's good. So I just moved a couple of centimetres, found another little spot. So this area is alive. It's got tension in it. It's got build up. What we want to do is just pin and wait there with weight. Hold, dissolve, allow that tissue to mould and change shape. You can see some twitching going on down there. Can you see that, Leo?
Push a bit harder.
I need to get that twitching going.
Oh, it feels good.
Good. And just for you practitioners out there that want to see some different ways that I treat it, so feeling for that there, and then I'm just going to almost lose my thumbs up there. You just have a little bit of a gouge.
Yeah.
Really good. Even gym goers, if you're doing a lot of weights, especially squats or leg weights, which I hope you are. I hope you're not just doing upper body.
Yeah, that's it. Focus on the lower body.
Look, I've been there. I was 18 once too, and all we wanted to do was build the pipes.
Yeah,
it didn't matter.
Pecs and pipes.
Pecs and pipes. Get big chests and big arms. But hopefully you're training legs. So training legs, you're going to get DOMs, you're going to get soreness, you're going to get tightness. And if you just leave that week after week, it gets tighter and tighter, and all of a sudden your mobility is gone and you've got no flexibility, you need to book in. You need to do this. That's like driving a taxi or an Uber, and you're constantly driving your car around building up Ks after Ks and never taking it in for a service or a wash or a clean or changing the tyres. You need to look after your body more. Don't start looking after your body late into your 50s and 60s. Do it now. Do it while you're young. Or maybe you are in your 50s and 60s watching that. It's never too late either. But at least, you've got one body. You've got one vessel that's going to take you through this life. You don't get to take your car in, your body in, and trade it in and, go, we'll get rid of the old Subi and we'll upgrade it for the Porsche. Treat it like a Porsche now, Keep it.
It's a big upgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And that's everything. That's food, that's sun, that's sleep, that's lifestyle choices and behaviours.
Exercise.
Treatment's got to be right up there. Just feel good. I had a client in yesterday and she really struggled with the level of pain. And she goes, is everybody like this? And look, secret, she was a hypochondriac, big one. So she was really struggling with it and I wasn't pushing very hard. And I said, no, look, I have 80% of my clients are maintenance. 80% of my clients come in and love it so much. They come in once a week, once a month, once every 6 weeks, whatever that they can afford or they need. And they just come in and get the rub because they walk out feeling so much better. That's a really good spot there. They walk out feeling so much better. All right, back to the treatment.
Oh, jeez. I want to kick you in the nuts there.
That's a good one there, Jace. All right, so think of our adductors. They all come in and insert into our pes anserine, which is a Bode landmark right there on the medial part of the knee.
Oh.
So think of how maybe if this was tight, it would be pulling up and in, and that's going to affect maybe how the knee performs and functions. So if you've got medial knee pain, even pain at the front of the knee, we're going to go to this Adductor Magnus as well. Yes, the quads. Yes, we'll treat the patella. Probably the hamstrings. But this guy as well. And I'll just show you, just to finish up, how much time we got. Yeah, we got some time. Yeah, you can see the indents. You can see where I've been. How I come off. There's the bone, so there's nothing other there than just a little bit of a bone joint mobe. And then we come down that little ridge off the cliff, and we purchase all of that tissue and work slowly up the knee. Really good. So it's just as important to be soft and supple through here as it is to be strong and stable. So you want a good balance. You want to make sure you're strengthening your adductors with some squats. Maybe you need to isolate them with some things like Bulgarians. Maybe you need to just do, as Jason's lying here, and you just lift his hip up, his leg up, just to get some adduction going on. Good. All the way up.
Oh.
And then sink out. I'm just going to point my fingers away so we don't touch anything we don't want to touch.
It's good.
It's good, Jace. Yeah, got to feel it to heal it. Got to go through it.
Oh, that's good.
One more. One more, a little bit softer, maybe.
Yeah. It's gonna feel good tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good. We've also got some really good content and reels that we put out on our Instagram. So we'll plug our Instagram at Melbourne Muscular Therapies. Check that out. We're constantly uploading. We're about to take on a new
social media
manager, so she's going to take over that in the next month. So look out, head to our Instagram, have a little bit of a watch, see what we do. But if you're needing this treatment, head to our website, book in online, give us a call. We're in Richmond, Melbourne and Ferntree Gully, and we'll see how you see you soon. Jace, let's just retest that before we say goodbye to our viewers.
You want this one first?
Yeah, so even the flexion on that, I can tell, is just like better. Cool. And then drops that right really low, really good. So before we were probably up here, so you can see how effective.
And this hip's not rolling.
Yeah, and that hip's not having to push back at all. So really good success rate there. Effective way to treat the Adductor Magnus. As I said, you got hip pain, lower back pain, or any dysfunctions going on around this midline, get into your Adductor Magnus and give that a go. Book in with one of our practitioners and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.